Yesterday was quite a day in the markets, and we need to take a look at the technicals to see if we're going to get a further sell from where we're at right now, or if we're going to continue to bounce up from yesterday's lows. I have some very critical things to watch for SPY, QQQ, IWM. I'm going to give an update on Bitcoin and XRP and the good things that we see about those charts given yesterday's sell-off with some of the big names, especially Nvidia, down about 17% at the close. I also have a bonus one for you, a very much big opportunity as according to the technicals, if you will, that could play out in a very bullish way, and people like bullish stocks. So we'll look for that, and I think it's a very good near-term opportunity. So we're going to start off with SPY and what we're looking at here for the price action for SPY. Let me actually take down some of these technicals so you can see just the moving averages that are on here. We actually took a bounce off of the 50-day yesterday for SPY. That's a very bullish thing. 50 up above the 20. If we get that 20 to cross back up over the 50, that's again a bullish thing. And we're still up above the 200. I said yesterday we're still very well into bullish territory despite the big pre-market drop that we had. And then yesterday we actually did close up the fact that we had such a nice green candle, even though it was a red day. That's once again a good sign. The market's getting a little bit of time to digest some of the deep mind drama that we see in the AI space. Nvidia recovering at about 5% in the pre-market hours this morning. That's also a very good thing to watch for. So we still don't exactly know the impacts that we're going to get from some of the language from some of the AI infrastructure, I should say. According to the deep minds, relatively small, and according to the news that came out, relatively cheap model that we saw. Now, mind you, if that's just an engineering thing, that can be very good for saving cash for actually training the models, and that doesn't necessarily directly impact Nvidia, but that's still being digested right now. So do we just get much larger scale models that are much more capable, given the engineering innovation that has happened with DeepMind, and that would leave room for other engineers to also adapt in the same way? Now, that could infringe upon Nvidia's demand for their hardware, for their services, but it could also augment the demand for those products and services over time. We're just going to have to watch and see how that plays out. So let's move from there. From what we have for SPY, watch that 50-day. We want to stay above it. And again, we're looking at what happens in that gap. Oftentimes, we tend to fill those gaps when we give those drops like that one. So watch for that return back up above 600. So moving over into the Qs, where do we get that? Yesterday, we dropped down below the 50 and the 20. And well, with the fact that the NASDAQ 100 is so tech heavy, that there's so much big tech that's in there, Nvidia being such a big part of that, a drop like that is bound to be expected. So we want to get back up on top of the 50, back up on top of the 20, and definitely back up on top of this trend line to see if further bullishness. And we want to stay above this 503 number that's on the screen right here, as that's the July 10th high that we had. That's going to be important to us. So moving over to IWM, we got rejected off the 50-day Friday and Monday. So still struggling to get back up over that. So now, mind you, the DeepMind news that we got, DeepMind R1, is actually, in my opinion, a very good thing for the Russell 2000 stocks, the small cap companies who can't invest in the same AI infrastructure that you would get. They need the bang for the buck AI innovations that are out there and bring the computing to the edge that be direct on-site, that you wouldn't necessarily have the bias as you would if you have to reach out online, something that you could train personally on your own data on site rather than reaching out to the cloud. All those things could be very good for the Russell 2000 stocks. So DeepMind R1, I think, is actually an innovation that's good for the Russell 2000 stocks. Now, mind you, down yesterday, but not down by a whole lot, down by about 1%. So definitely not, I guess you could say it outperformed what we had for QQQ, which was down about 3%, and the Russell 2000 down about 1.4. When I said that pre-market yesterday, that would most likely be the case, that you would see that outperformance of IWM, because in my opinion, it actually is a better thing for the Russell 2000 companies than it is for the S&P, at least for some of the big tech that's there, especially Nvidia, and then also what we saw with the Qs. Now for Bitcoin, the good news that we see for Bitcoin is from yesterday. Check out off the 50-day right here, this pink line that you see, and the 20-day. Look at that support that we got, that long wick, that buying pressure that we got. Even though the markets got wrecked yesterday, Bitcoin was like, this is all right. This is fine. Hi, baby. I have a 19-month-old daughter who greeted me very warmly through the French doors over there. So Now she's smiling at me. She's very cute, much cuter than I am. Let's move on from there. From Bitcoin, like I said, we need to break, in previous videos, I should say, 107,892 is that number. Getting up above that, getting a full candle to sit on top of it, very bullish. Please watch for it. If we get rejected a third time, that could be a triple top. That could be a very bearish sign, at least in the near term. And then that could lead to a pretty big rejection. So we want to watch and see what happens around that 107,892 level. You can see that we put a new all-time high on Monday, January the 20th. We want to see a candle on top of that instead of getting these high wicks every time we get up there and getting that selling pressure coming in. That is a huge, huge number that, in my opinion, anybody who's bullish on Bitcoin, everybody should be watching that number. So let's move on from there into XRP. XRP, we see a very similar chart to what we saw for Bitcoin with that very low bottom wick, that buying pressure coming in, not quite making the 50-day EMA or SMA, but we can see we closed up above the 13 today, sitting on top of the 13 EMA and it breaking above the 5. This is very good. We want to see what we saw, I should say, going back to when we hit my price target of 340 off the bull pennant, off the consolidation part of it, not the flagpole for the pennant itself. We hit that 340 pretty much on the nose, off by about 0.02 of a dollar. So not so bad, or 0.2 of a cent, however you want to look at it. And then we sold back off, but that allowed the momentum to also cool off here back into just regular bullish territory, not an overbought territory. And so this is actually a very, very good setup for breaking that 340, heading off towards that 472, letting that bull pennant play out. And did I say bull pennant? Yes, I did, because now's the time that I bring to you Netflix. So from their earnings day, from that earnings report that came out is where we got that flagpole, and then we have a consolidation pattern following that one. So if we get this confirmed, which confirmation of the bull pennant is breaking out of the top of this thing, retesting, and then skyrocketing, it could take us just off the consolidation part to over $1,000. Now, mind you, that's if we hit this lower part of the pennant. The sooner that happens, the higher this number is pushed up, the more we break over that $1,000 off that confirmation from the pennant part of the bull pennant. And if we look at the flagpole part of this, 1,100 is actually the low number from the flagpole. Again, if you look this, it's wherever you break out. So right now, I have it all the way down here because I don't know where that break is going to happen. So if we do get the confirmation of a breakout to the upside, the lowest we're going to get out of that is about $1,100 off of Netflix, off of that bull pennant. So be on the watch for that. If that breakout happens sooner, let's say that it happened back here instead, you can see that that starts to creep up to a few dollars more over 1,100. So I think that these are actually two very good numbers that are on the screen in front of you, that we have about $70, $80 difference between what we get from the consolidation pattern and what we get from the flagpole. So keep Netflix on your radar, especially in the near term, because this is the hourly chart. So this is the next day or two. That's really all we have. So today's Tuesday. So Tuesday, Wednesday, we have that amount of time to confirm the pennant part of this bull pennant. And if it does break down through, we can go back to about $900 per share, or even all the way back down to this $888. We want to watch for that, almost $889. So for Netflix, watch for the break to the upside for those prices to come out. And if not, we could fall down instead to about $888 if we break that bull pennant pattern instead of confirming it. So that's the bonus that I have for you. These technicals already shared over at my Discord at about 7 o'clock in the morning. So if you guys want this information earlier so you have more time to digest it, the link for the Patreon is down in the description. You can click on that, sign up, and head on over to the Discord that's available there. And then also, you can find the link for Stockmo Academy down in the description for learning about technical analysis. I vetted the course myself, having 17 years in education, having my doctorate in education. Mind you, you can use the code word doctor, D-O-C-T-O-R. It's going to give you a massive discount on that course. And you get access to the trading strategy that I use called the bread recipe, developed by Stockmo. He uses it as well, taught in that course, easy to set up, easy to use. You can see when stocks are about to skyrocket. You can also see when stocks, or crypto for that matter, are about to plummet, based on the technicals that you see there. And then you can use that in your due diligence to plan when to enter trades, when to exit trades. Even though it never tells you when to buy or sell, it does give you those signals when those opportunities do arise. So guys, thank you very much for watching. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education. Remember, my friends, that learning is earning. We'll see you next video.